Welcome to the Cocktail Club podcast with Cocktail Kompany. Today on this episode, I have a guest who I admire a lot. I think I can probably say one of the brightest minds in the spirit industry. And he's been an inspiration for us to get into entrepreneurship. None other than Anand Virmani, founder of Greater Than Gin and CEO.
Apparently.
Apparently. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for taking our time for doing this.
I'm glad you remembered. I know we made this plan over a drink or two here, and then yesterday you messaged, I was like, fuck, he remembered.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to curse. Maybe I should take that back.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
I think, where do I begin with this? Now, first thing is I actually want to know your journey. I know all of them have asked you a question about Greater Than Gin and all of that. But I'm very keen on understanding how this entrepreneur thing in you came about. I think, can you start from your childhood? What's your what did you study? How did you get into becoming the CFO? And
okay, so never really ever thought I would get into starting a business. I think that's one of the things. Funnily enough, I went to everyone gives boards, everyone hopes they're going to get into these good colleges across India. But to get into these good colleges across India, you have to get 99, 98 in boards, and you're like, that's not going to happen. But still, you study towards it and everything. At a very timely moment, I had a lung collapse. Basically, I had in 12th grade, I think Feb you get as the prep leave. I don't know how it works in Bangalore, but in Delhi, at least for CBSE board, the whole month of February you get as prep leave. And with us, in CBSE, you don't study till 2 days before the exam. So taking a board exam, you're supposed to study 1 month before the exam. And no one studies during the year, at least no one that I know. So it got to, I think, the first day of prep leave, and I basically landed up in hospital. With a collapsed lung and everything. And this is now going way back.
Right.
This is now, I should be lying down, you're a psychologist and all. But it was so bad that basically I had to go in and out of hospital for the whole month, the entire month of prep leave. So that gave me a great excuse to be like, listen, can't study.
Right.
Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. So obviously, hopes and dreams of getting into a decent college in Delhi, which is where I was from, were absolutely dashed right there and then. But in any case, I think one of the things that, I'd been preparing for was possibly going out to the US. Applying to the US, honestly, I had no idea where to begin. I remember my dad saying, you're going to go to college in the US, you go to MIT, Harvard or something. I was like, didn't realize how far away those dreams were, how ridiculous those dreams were. But ended up getting into this college called Babson. Right, which at that point, honestly, I had to explain to people where it is, what part of the world it is in, that it's not in Boston, it's near Boston and everything. I applied thinking, and they do have a good finance program, a good investment banking program, which at that time seemed like a great idea. I was really excited about it. I was really kicked about, getting into finance because I had done commerce in 12th standard, in 11th and 12th.
Okay. That was a conscious call? You belong to a business family, or no? You just like commerce?
The only thing I thought I would be okay at. I mean, I liked history, but somehow would end up getting 2 out of 25 in history and everything I did. So I liked science, but everyone had just built up this thing that how difficult science is in India, especially, with boards and everything. So I was just like, okay, stay away from that. Commerce seemed, doable, manageable, not the hardest thing in the world,
right.
But yeah, and, it was okay. It somehow that path seemed to be okay, sorted. So anyway, ended up going to this college, Babson, thinking, okay, it's got a good finance program. I kid you not, I think I got there and realized it's the number 1 entrepreneurship school in the world.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, yeah, but that's great.
Yeah.
But that's not why I came here. I came here for the investment banking program. And it was really interesting. In the first year, they actually had this course called FME, Foundation Management Experience, where they actually make you pitch a business idea to the rest of the class.
Okay.
So it's kind of like Shark Tank. But you pitch a business idea as a group of 3. And 60 students in the class, so 20 groups of 3 pitch their business idea. And everyone votes, okay, yeah, I like this idea, I like that idea. And then from that, I think maybe half are eliminated.
Okay.
And then the eliminated ones basically compile with these ones, and then it's 10 groups of 6, and then they pitch the next idea. No, I mean next version of the idea, right?
Okay.
So now business plan and everything. Finally, it gets down to the last 2 ideas. So now 30 kids, each running a business.
Okay.
For the rest of the year. So first 6 months, you basically pitched ideas and everything, and people have voted, and it's gotten selected down to 2 ideas in the class that work. And now in different sections, there are many. So I think in total, there were maybe 8 ideas, 8 business ideas. And the next step is then to pitch to a bank. Now, the college had tied up with Bank of America, and you pitch to a bank and you actually raise money. So we raised, I think, $3,000 from a bank.
Okay.
As 17-year-old kids, imagine. Like,
What year was this? 2000?
This is 2005.
5. Okay.
Yeah.
At that time, you raised so much of money.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the bank also knows that, okay, it's an experience, and somewhere these kids will, grow up and become whatever, something, hopefully. So that was a really interesting experience. But again, for me, I was very set in my way that, okay, I want to do finance. So I ended up, we had a company called Pride Blankets where we would make personalized blankets, basically. Very simple idea. And I ended up being the CFO for the company for whatever reason. And then you had to go in and pitch for, okay, I want to be CFO, I want to be CMO, I want to be CSO. So it was a really interesting insight into how a company works.
How old were you when you were
17?
17?
Yeah.
You were the CFO of Pride Blankets.
Pride Blankets.
Wow.
Maybe 18. I think I just turned 18. Yeah. But it was really interesting because, again, for me, I was thinking I'm going to get into finance. So this is a great way to actually learn firsthand what finance would look like if I was working in a company. What would be the details of that? I liked it, but I also hated it. In the sense that I liked doing it, but I didn't want my life to become that. I didn't, I was surrounded by numbers all the time. And I was thinking of numbers all the time. And I said, listen, maybe not what I want to do. So at the end of the year, it was great. We actually ended up being a profit of about $16,000 US.
Okay.
Which obviously, as we have to donate back. Of course, we have to pay back the bank and we have to donate back, to NGOs, etc. And that was a fantastic experience. But now I was left a little bit rudderless. So 4 years of college, first year, basically I've dispelled the fact that, okay, I want to do finance, but now I don't want to do finance. Okay. So the second year was all about, okay, finding out what else I want to do. And basically I ended up thinking, okay, I want to do marketing and I want to do economics, and I ended up doing a little bit of both. Somehow got my way through 4 years of college, not attending a single entrepreneurship class. And you could choose all the classes you want to attend. But I was just like, at no part of me said that I was going to start a business.
Okay.
Because most of these other kids, and there were a lot of, kids that came from India and Pakistan, etc., and Bangladesh. Most of these kids had family businesses.
Okay.
So they had been sent by the family to understand how to run the family business, how to take it to the next level. And I was just like, yeah, listen, I don't have a family business. My mom used to be a teacher. My dad used to be as a corporate, person. So there's no bone in my body that is telling me that I'm going to start a business.
Okay.
But I think somewhere along the line, being so close to all of this, you absorb a few things, I guess. The one thing I absorbed during my time at college was wine. Well, not physically absorbing wine.
Understand, yeah.
But though that also did happen. But was this idea that wine was a really interesting space to exist in. There were some really interesting case studies that we did during my time there. And I was like, hey, wine as a product, as a brand is really fascinating because, you change the label and a Mouton Rothschild, becomes valueless. Right? So this whole thing about new world wines, old world wines, I found really fascinating. And that's what I pursued after graduating.
Okay.
Unsuccessfully for the first year because I sent out 160 something resumes to wineries around the world. I got 5 replies, all of them saying, thank you so much for reaching out, but we don't have any openings. And the others just didn't reply. So I was like, damn,
This was across the world you applied?
Across the world, I applied blanket. I think I have those emails still. But 167, I think, emails I sent out. Not a single yes. And I ended up working the first year in a place, I can say it, I guess. I worked in Deloitte.
Okay.
Did not like it. Came back first day from office saying, I absolutely cannot imagine myself doing this for more than a day.
Okay.
But again, stuck with it till I got that job and finally cracked into William Grant's. Because, and that was also a funny space because in the interview, I walked in and the first thing the lady asked me was, do you like whiskey? Because William Grant's is a whiskey company.
Yes.
And I said no, which I probably should have said yes. She's like, no, don't worry, it's fine. You're in marketing, either you'll learn to like it or you'll fake it.
Okay.
Oh wow, yeah, fake it till you
Where
fake
was
it.
this? This was
Gurgaon. This was Delhi.
Okay. Okay.
And this, I actively pursued these guys for a good 10 months to say, please give me a job. Please give me a job.
Wow.
I want to work in the alcobev space. So it was rough to get in, but finally when I got in, then I spent, 3 years there at William Grant's, but I still wanted to do wine. So I finally gave up that job and I said, listen, I'm going to go study wine.
Okay.
So I went back to France. I studied wine for a year. Came back. Again, I think one of the things that I learned during my time at France was that actually maybe wine didn't have as much of a potential as I had been making it out to sound like. But I think I grew in, my appreciation for the spirits world grew a little bit.
When you were in France?
When I was in France. To say that, the spirit side actually has probably more potential when I see, when I talk about it globally, but wine was still interesting. So came back, worked with Remy Cointreau for a year until in my 11th month, they shut down the office in India. Nothing that I did, incidentally. Before anyone says anything, I was not responsible for that shutdown, but they were trying to launch an Indian-made brandy.
Okay.
And somehow did not succeed and did not make it happen. And they'd spent all this money and they finally said, enough, pulling the plug, getting out of here. And, I guess the bystanders in that who went along with it basically were 15 of us who were working in Remy Cointreau. So anyway, I ended up being jobless 1 year after coming back from, studying wine and doing that graduation, etc. And looking around, did a few things here and there. And finally this Weber, who I knew very well from my days at, at William Grant's. I'd spent some time at PCO learning to bartend.
Okay.
Under the very capable eyes of Arijit Bose, who's been here in this chair as well. And Weber was was the guy who was like heading up that space at that point. I got to know him at that point, and he came up to me when I was jobless and 2 months in, kind of pulling my hair out, wondering what the hell am I doing. And he said, listen, you know a thing or two about wine. I want to start a wine bar. Do you want to start with me? I said, yeah, that's great. Let's do this. So took a incredible pay cut and basically ended up, helping him start Perch, wine and coffee bar, which basically became our window into this world where actually people wanted to drink gin.
Okay.
And that's really where we first put together the fact that people were looking for gin. And it came as a bit of a surprise because, again, like I said, at William Grant's, while it was a whiskey company, one brand that they had was Hendrix. And in 2010, we helped launch Hendrix in Delhi and Bombay and everything, which meant, big showcases, a lot of money spent, big event, like, typically what Hendrix would do. And what we found funny was, we would invite the best of the best of the city. And they would come in and be like, wow, looks beautiful. Love what you've done with this place. Can I get a glass of wine? You're like, but, I've invited you for a gin event, have a gin cocktail. No, I don't drink gin. My grandparents drink gin. Gin is a lady's drink. You know, there were all these myths around gin that we don't know where the hell they came from. But effectively, so that had been solidified in my head that, you know, people don't want to drink gin. Okay, fine, moving on. But in 2015, when we opened Perch, people are walking now into a wine bar and saying, can I get a gin and tonic?
Oh, wow.
You know, can I get our highest selling anything on the menu was this cocktail called the Elder Tree, which was a gin cocktail.
Okay.
It was the highest selling, you know, beverage on the, well, mine is the cappuccino, you know, and the fresh lime soda. But, you know, it was this cocktail that was the highest selling thing. So it was great to see. And, you know, we started asking around our friends to say, our friends as in, you know, from the industry saying, listen, are people coming to you also and asking for gin?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, you know, we've been noticing it lately. A lot of people coming in asking for gin. So that's really where this started. And we started to understand there is potential for this category in the country. But even then, I don't think we realized that we were the ones who were going to do anything about it. For us, we were discussing now, you know, maybe...
No, but I really started liking the conversation now, because first you went to a entrepreneurship school,
but stayed the hell away from it. Correct.
And then you go to study wines in France, but then you start liking spirits. And then you open a wine bar, but you sell gin there.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, it's like this dichotomy that, you know, it's like I'm trying to do this, but I'm going on getting pulled in this other direction.
Okay.
So honestly, I'd love to be able to say, no, I had a very clear vision that I wanted to start a gin company from the day I was born. And now I'm starting, you know, now I'm, you know, heading up a gin company. That's definitely not the case. It was not even accidental. I was actively trying not to do it.
Okay.
And even at that time when we realized people are asking for gin, our thoughts were, you know, between Vevaman, myself and Aparajita, three of us, we were thinking, yeah, you know, someone will come and make it. You know, it's funny that, you know, no one's made it yet. But I'm sure someone will come and make it because, you know, why not? I mean, India is one of the largest spirits market in the world. You know, some of the best in the business between Diageo, Pernod Ricard, you know, Bacardi, Beam. I'm sure they will figure it out and they will put out a product. But we soon realized actually that was not happening. No one was talking about gin. You know, I think it seemed like we were the only ones who had heard this, that, you know, people want gin. And, you know, we were hearing it every day. We would walk up to a table and ask, what can I get you? Gin and tonic. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, which I would have...
Do you mean to say, did you actually learn the fundamentals of business from your education, or you actually put yourself into the business and then start learning?
I think I wish I had paid more attention to it.
Okay.
I wish I had taken like entrepreneurship courses actually when I was in Babson, because that would have been a great place to learn the theory at least of it. Yes, obviously you pick up the basics, you know, by just talking to people and just by being immersed in that kind of an environment where everyone around you is talking business. I remember even in that blankets business that we did, we ended up having to face a lot of operational and you know, marketing challenges. Like, for example, we were supposed to go for our first proper exhibition where we would be showcasing our blankets and everything, and we'd place the order. The blankets were coming from China. I get a call at 4 in the morning saying, Anand, are you awake? I'm like, obviously I'm not awake. Acha, can you log into this, you know, can you log on to BBC? We didn't have TVs. Can you switch on BBC? Okay, switched on the live feed for BBC. He's like, yeah, you see that there's a DHL plane that burned down. You see that DHL plane burning down? First, okay, great. What does that have to do with me? Our blankets are on that plane.
Oh, shit.
I was like, no. So, yeah, you know, dealing with those kind of things where, you know, like now when you run a business, obviously, you know, you're thrown challenges all the time.
Correct.
And that was a challenge that I remember being thrown and being like, okay, now what? You know, so we basically went out and got blankets. We got, you know, we printed out things to make it look like, okay, this is a sample. This is how it will look like. And, you know, so we had to talk to, you know, potential customers to say, this is potentially how it looks like. Look at the quality. So rather than focusing on the stitching of the customization, focusing on the quality of the blanket. How warm does it make you feel? Which one would you like? And, you know, so it was a really interesting way to pivot. You know, we also started off as a B2C business.
Okay.
You know, where we were pitching to individual customers.
Okay.
Until maybe about 3 months in, when we, you know, it was very politically charged. We fired our sales head. He said, "You're not able to do anything." And we brought on some other sales head, and we collectively came up with the strategies, and now we're going to be B2B.
Okay.
So up till then, we had sold 120 blankets. We got one massive order from a hospital, and we customized blankets for that hospital, and we got an order of about 300 blankets in one go. So suddenly we became a B2B business. Like, great, this makes sense. So I think learning from those things was pivotal. But at the end of the day, when we started the business for making gin, obviously, you know, it was every day was a learning experience, and it continues to be. I think every single day that we exist and we survive to live to fight another day, we are learning something from that day, and it's incredible.
And what was the thought process, or what did you had in mind when you got everyone together to build this? Because it's hard to find someone who understands what you want to do in terms of business, and always expect that one or the other person takes the responsibility for the business. Of course, I think you must be handling the money bit in the business.
I hope so.
Yeah.
No, I think it's one of those things that you build up over time and you don't realize you're building up. I think the first team that we had beyond myself, Aparajita and Vaibhav, was one salesperson in Delhi who's still with us, Prateek. One finance person in Delhi who's still with us, Yogesh. One salesperson, that salesperson came later, but one distiller, Jay Dhawan, right? So these were the three people, and Sanjeev was who someone I'd worked with at Remy Cointreau as well, who had said, "Listen, you will have to come whatever I'm doing," because he was such a resourceful fellow. So 4 people, and then finally we hired a 5th person, Tarini, for Bangalore, and that was the first 5-member team that we had.
Okay.
And at no point do you realize that you're building something large. You know, you're just hiring 5 people, and that's what it is. Yeah. You don't have that long-term vision as much as you want to. You almost don't want to look that far, because in most scenarios, you can't see yourself surviving that far.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those, what happened in that Avengers Endgame, right? Where he looks at, how many scenarios he's in, and there's one in a billion scenarios that, it feels like that, where even looking back now, it's incredible to actually see that we've survived.
Okay.
Every day is an existential crisis when you are a small time, especially alcobev company in India, because the industry is not geared towards you.
Correct.
The industry, the excise policy, everything is geared towards large scale. That's the only thing that exists in India. It's large scale industries making and selling very low end and low quality spirits, country liquor and all of that. So yeah, it's incredible that we've survived so far, and we are now 60 people in this company, which again, if I go say that to a Diageo or a Bacardi, they're like, oh, that's a small company. And I understand where that's coming from. But for us, it feels like the biggest thing in the world, and we've got 60 incredible people that somehow work well together, that somehow bring in, different sort of experiences and everything from the past. And yeah.
How do you get all these people to, come up with such amazing ideas about marketing or the brand, the product, or anything like that? I believe in culture.
I definitely think
it's about building it.
It's culture, and it's about asking each other the right questions or the wrong questions. But it's about being involved. It's about, if everyone is pulling in some direction, it's not even about one direction, in some direction, and they're passionate about that direction, then at least you get to explore all those avenues and come up with ideas that haven't been thought before. And that really is, the prerogative for us.
Okay.
Where we could do the same things that all the large companies do, but then how will we stand up? I believe we have survived this far, this long, because we've done things differently. Right, whether it be our choice of limited editions, whether it be our choice of a product itself, right? And I remember even our closest mentor at the time that we were coming up with this business plan would guide us through it and end the meeting saying, guys, this gin business is great, looks good, but why don't you make a beer? Look at what these guys are doing with bira and everything, and see how much money this guy is making. Why don't you do that? Why are you doing gin? It's 1% of the spirits industry. What's wrong with it?
Is that what is happening right now? Saying enough of making gin, start opening bars now?
I don't know. I don't know what that.
I'm very curious to know the story of MTW.
Okay, MTW. I think MTW. Firstly, it's for those who don't know, MTW is a bar that we open in Panjim, which is not primarily a bar. It is primarily our office. And I think that's where the story begins. So in the evening, basically, it turns into a bar, but till 6 p.m. it is our office. So obviously during the pandemic, we've continued to grow and all of that. And we actually moved from Delhi to Goa. And in the beginning, it was fine, because we had 1 or 2 people in the marketing team, and they would just come home, and we would even sometimes have masks on, but we would just be, working in our own space in there. But, as the marketing team has grown and everyone's in Goa, basically, it got to a point where there were like 8 people coming to our house every day, opening up laptops on sofas, chairs, bean bags and everything. And at some point we looked around and we said, listen, we can't fit these many people on our dining table.
Yeah.
And we're making food for everyone. Oh, not we, but whatever. We're getting food made for everyone for lunch and everything. And we're like, we can't fit. Our dining table is for 6 people. We've got 8 people and then ourselves and everything. So we said, okay, time to find an office. And 2020, so last year, 2023 is a decent enough time. People have moved on from masking up and everything. And at no point are we comfortable to say the pandemic is over. I think still can't say it.
We see that even in the way people are drinking out right now, they want good open spaces. We were actually scared before opening this space, saying, is it okay that it's entirely closed, very small? You are actually rubbing shoulders with others while you're sitting. Will it hit back badly on us? But it's okay, let's take this.
I think for now, it's for whatever it is, it's okay. So anyway, we said, okay, we'll look for an office. But now we've gotten so used to not paying rent.
Oh,
at least from, I don't want to add an expense item on our P&L. To be like, So we said, okay, we'll look for a space where we can have an office and hopefully a small bar area where we can, sell enough drinks to, basically cover our monthly rent.
Okay.
And I think we're blessed with a great team already that is, from an advocacy point of view, going out there, building relationships with the community, etc. And obviously, quite a few of them are bartenders. So we said, great, it'll give them a platform to, to get behind the bar, maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days. And we've always had in our mind that we're going to start an experience center. So, we'd hired ahead 3 years ago.
Right.
So we've still got the people, on our roles, and obviously they're great at coming up with drinks and going out doing trainings and just generally kind of, engaging with the community and being a valuable part of the community, right? We don't necessarily believe in brand ambassadors, because I think brand ambassadors is something that was quite cliched.
Yes.
Where, brand ambassadors almost became brand ambassadors going to come, they're going to do a training and they're going to leave.
Yeah.
Spew out the same thing and leave. So we said, we don't want that. We want people who are going to actively engage with the community, be an active part of the community, which means they have to come from the community itself. But it's not that, they can't come behind here and say, listen, Kapoli, can I help out? I know you're short stuff. I'll help out today, right? And that's the meaningful, part of the community that we want these guys to be, and we want ourselves to be as well. I don't know where I started this story from, but yeah, MTW. So effectively, we've got this fantastic team that is pretty much ready to take on the reins and excited about, we're going to open a bar. Okay, great. Let's do this. So we started MTW. Effectively, we moved in August and started working out of there, and ACs were working, tables were there. We're like, great. We assembled all the furniture, and basically it was one of those things where when you're opening a place. It's like, the plumbing needs, there's this leaky thing. So when that gets fixed, we'll move in. When the AC stops dripping, we'll move in. So you're always fixing those things. And one day we just said, listen, we'd ordered all this IKEA furniture. We said, listen, let's just go in. AC is working. We'll switch on the AC. open this IKEA furniture and just set it up. And we just did that. So we just went in, set up all the furniture on that day. And when it was set, we were all like, looks fine. We can move in now. So now it just, it's one of those things that you just have to just have to take that step and, move in. So we moved in to the office in August of last year. And then we were still kind of working on the bar counter, the bar design and everything. And that took a little bit longer to take shape. But in December, we basically opened up what we call MTW. MTW obviously means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's our office bar, so it's very much an active space. It's not like it's not a gimmick. We've not put it on the side to be like, look, it can be an office. And inside. No, it's actually our office. So often there are people who are drinking and I'm still finishing up work. Okay. And there's, and then I'll go and have a drink and then I'll hang out. And eventually they'll see, us, walk out with backpacks and be like, oh, they actually work here. So yes, we actually do work there.
Okay.
Shockingly. And the idea with MTW is, so it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's a weekday bar. And we specifically said MTW because in Goa, at least, on those days, typically are the days off for a bar. So if you run a bar, either you would have a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday off, which means it's a great place for the community to come in on their off day. Right. So and also becomes a weekday bar. So it's open, very much like an office, all 5 days of the week. And on Saturday, it's half a day.
Okay.
So we don't show up to office.
Okay.
But we show up to the bar. So half a day in that sense.
You're like the corporate bar employees. We are not corporate. We will come to the bar and make drinks behind the bar. You're like corporate walking into bar, which is your office, and then have a few drinks and go. That's amazing.
I mean, we try and stay the hell away from the word corporate as well, right? And so there's no ties, suit, none of that as well. We hopefully we're going to stay away from that.
Well in Goa also.
Yeah, Goa. I mean, I can't imagine it. There was one day that when our most recent person joined, Aisha, when she joined as the assistant brand manager for Greater Than, all of us somehow came up with, one person came up with this idea that, guys, we should prank this person. And we should all wear formals on that day and refer to each other as sir and madam and can I get you coffee, can I get you this thing? And it was fun, but we realized how unprepared we were for this formals because none of us had formal clothing. So and all our formal clothing was from 6-7 years ago. So it was fitting into these, it's obviously put on a little bit of weight since then. We're fitting into very, very tight clothes and trying to keep a straight face while people came in and saying, can I get you coffee, sir? And it was funny, but yeah, we realized how much we're not suited to that. And that's why it almost became satire for us and we cracked up in the first half an hour.
Okay.
But yeah, one of the things we do is we talk about taking it easy. And, so at MTW, for example, we've got 3 sections on the menu. So we've only got 9 drinks. Very good. The idea is you should come in and have excellent cocktails. Should not be ridiculously priced. It should be a neighborhood bar at the end of the day. And it's in Goa. It can be. Our licenses don't cost as much as yours do in Bangalore.
Yes.
And our gin doesn't cost as much as yours does or ours does in Bangalore either. So we said, listen, we'll make it attainable. We'll make it a place you can come to for very good cocktails. But we'll keep it limited. It doesn't have to be, a dictionary of cocktails that, you're going through. We'll do 9 very good cocktails and we split them up into 3 categories. We did, again, keeping the office theme alive. We said we will have long days, tough days and half days. So long days section has 3 drinks, which is basically, tall, refreshing drinks. So if you had a long day at work, you want a refreshing drink. If you had a tough day at work, you want like a boozy drink to kind of forget about your day. So there again, there are 3 drinks which are boozy. And then finally, half day, and if you're on vacation in Goa, you will have something which is fun, quite vibrant and fun. And so that's how we split it up.
Okay.
And then once you come in, obviously you notice quite a few elements. We've got a paper shredder. Where the idea is that, you write your thoughts of the day, like how was your day, and you basically shred it through that. We've had a lot of people shredding their credit cards also through that, which is great. I don't know what if they were done with it
after they paid the bill.
Yeah, it's fine.
And what's this? You have sandwiches as well, right?
So we do toasties. So the idea is it's not, again, we have maybe lesser space than you guys have. Then actually, yeah, we definitely have lesser space than you guys have for your kitchen. So we said we don't want to, again, in India, most bars are actually restaurants.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
They have a bigger food menu than they have a drinks menu. So for us, we said we definitely want to open a bar. We don't have the space. We don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the headspace to kind of think about opening a restaurant. Right? That's something we have a separate plan for, and we'll do that when the time is right. But for us, we wanted this to be a bar. We wanted it to be a neighborhood bar. But knowing us Indians, we will walk into a bar and say, what's for food? So we said, okay, we'll keep basics. We won't have a full meal, but we'll keep toasties.
Okay.
And honestly, I think I was inspired by this one place in Melbourne that we had gone to that had a food menu, and mainly they were doing these, not toasties, but like these, what the patties, the bread patties that used to be there. So they were doing those, and I said, this is interesting. We can definitely do that. So we just simplified that further.
Okay.
And basically said, listen, we'll do toasties. So we've got 4 toasties on there, 5 now on popular demand.
Okay.
But again, keeping it simple, ham and cheese, 4 cheese or 3 cheese, paneer, vegan, because we have one vegan person in our office who insists that
Is that new on the menu? I haven't tried that.
No, it's there. It's been there from day one.
Okay.
We would not have heard the end of it had that not happened. And then most recently we got this pork ham, which has made its way onto the menu somehow.
Okay.
So very, very simple place. The idea is it gives us a place to showcase our cocktails, our product. So we've got, between Greater Than and Hapusa, obviously we've got the 2 main gins, and we've got the limited editions. And then recently we launched Pipa as a spiced rum as well. So gives us a chance to get people to come in and try that. But also equally, again, we keep all the other spirits as well. So we, if someone wants to come in and have a whiskey or a beer or a wine, we have, again, not a very extensive menu, but we'll have 1 or 2 for you to come to.
Now, since you've also launched the Pipa rum,
Yes.
are you envisioning that you have different spirits under your belt, or?
Yeah, we're going to no, we're not, man.
No? But
No,
what do you think about tequila? There's so much.
I think tequila is great. If we could make a tequila in India, then that would be awesome. But again, it's difficult,
What
right?
you guys have done?
We are making gin, man, and we are very happy making gin at this point because and the rum was an experiment that honestly started in 2019 when we put the liquid in the barrel.
Okay.
And at that point everyone was saying that rum is the next big thing. And we're like, okay, for us also we enjoy a little bit of rum, so we'll dabble in it. So we've not made a large amount of it, but with the rum, the idea was we took and the reason it actually started was we had tasted this very nice, cane or jaggery distillate from Goa, local, and they weren't doing anything about it. And we're like, this is really, it's got so much character. Can we take it from? We're like, yeah, go take. So we took that, and then we ordered port wine casks, not Goan port wine, but Portuguese port wine casks. So we ordered Portuguese port wine casks and brought them in and put the, jaggery distillate in there. And the idea being that, it's showing 2 cultures coming together. So it's showing Goa and Portugal and the kind of relationship that they had. So we aged it for a year and a half and became really complex and took on this really beautiful character. And honestly, we could have put that in the bottle and be like, great, that's done. But we decided to, and this was a contentious issue at least among the distillers, but we decided to spice it. And we spiced it with the 3 spices that the Portuguese first came to Goa for, or India for, which was black pepper, cinnamon and clove. So in that order we spiced it. Mainly black pepper, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of clove.
Okay.
And pipa effectively means cask in Portuguese.
Okay.
And it's a word that has gone through all the cultures in India, and even in Punjabi or in Konkani, pipa means container. So it's a word that's come from the Portuguese that's become part of our culture, part of our language. And that's what I really like about this, the assimilation that the 2 cultures have had with each other. Obviously, there have been reverse influences, there have been influences on this side as well.
Right.
and even in the name of our company, Now Spirits comes from the same thing, right? The Portuguese first came across to Goa in these trading vessels called Now. And it's a word that we've taken on in across all our languages. Even in Hindi, we say now.
Yes.
So I really like how, the cultures assimilate over time, and they, and they almost live and breathe together to form something new. And that's really what we felt we were doing.
Okay.
With the gin space, we were really creating something new where nothing else exists.
I think it's actually a very fascinating time right now in our country for the world of beverages. So many things happening. One of the questions which I usually ask everyone and when I do the podcast is, what does mindful drinking mean to you?
I think that's a lot of what greater than stands for. And we keep saying drink greater. So drink greater is not drink greater quantity. We're not expecting you to go to Soka every day and get trashed on 5. We're expecting you to come to Soka and ask for 1, maybe 2 cocktails and enjoy your time with that cocktail. Take time with that drink and appreciate the craft that's gone behind the cocktail, behind here, as well as the various spirits that have gone into making that cocktail, and that have come together to make this experience in a very unique space,
right,
as well. So I think that if we can learn to appreciate, and it's very different from, I guess, even what we were doing when we were growing up. The first time you come across alcohol in college, you definitely go overboard because there's been this taboo around drinking, and that continues to be. And so much of our drinking culture in India, unfortunately, stems from those taboos. Where because you can't be seen drinking at home, people are stopping off at thekas and buying the 60 ml or the 180 ml and drinking it and finishing it straight off and then going home.
Correct.
There's no appreciation for craft there.
Yes.
There it is functional drink.
First time probably we would have had a drink is one of our friend telling us how you should mix one with one and have or try with the beer first, otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So I think mindfulness comes from what I guess you're trying to achieve with that drink. Why are you drinking? Is it a social lubricant? Is it that you actually like the taste and flavor and you appreciate the complexity? Or is it the functionality of, it'll help me loosen up, or, it'll help me forget about the day. And, so I think one should know what you're trying to get out of it. Why are you actually, drinking? And I think that probably leads to the best appreciation of what's in your glass.
Right.
So for us, we always say that, listen, we encourage people to not have 5 drinks. We encourage people to come in and have 1 drink or 2 drinks. And that's it. We're very happy to see you at MTW or at any other event that we do with Greater Than or with Hapusa. Yes, it's your everyday gin, with Greater Than. It is your everyday gin, but does not mean you need to be drinking every day.
Right.
What it means is you don't need to necessarily look for a special occasion. And when you look for a special occasion, you go overboard. It can be something that is very easily, very, very delicately a part of life without necessarily having to be center of attention. And, without having to be a focal point.
Understood. So now a lot of our viewers of the podcast, right? There are Gen Z consumers who also listen to a podcast, I think. We have consumers who walk into a bar, they're young bartenders. There are also people within the industry who probably are watching the podcast. A lot of them want to actually get into the industry or start off as an entrepreneur or open their own bar or anything like that. Can you tell us maybe a few should not do when you want to get into this? Or maybe a few fundamentals which you should do when you want to get into this?
I think the first thing, and I was talking to someone about this yesterday who was looking for an internship with us. I think the first thing is to understand the core of the business. And the core of the business is not, so many people come to us and say, I'm really interested in the strategy of building brands and I want to get involved with strategy. It's easier said than done to say, listen, and it's not easy to just think about strategy because, you can, we can sit around the table right now and strategize and come up with a new brand and say it's going to do, X, Y, Z things. But you can't just jump into strategy.
Yes.
You have to understand the core of the business, and you have to understand the absolute basics of the business. And for example, in the beverage industry, the core of the business is either production or sales.
Right.
You have to, for example, I truly appreciate salespeople. They are the backbone of any business, that exists. So that's potentially the hardest part, and that's the part that most of the people that come to us and say, I want a job, they don't want to do. They don't want to get into sales because they're like, oh, it's hard work.
Yeah.
Whereas with marketing, they feel it's a lot less tangible.
Yeah.
And hence easier for them to do and sit in an office and everything. But we're trying to move away from that to say, listen, sales is really the backbone of the business. And if you were to want to start a business, that's a good place to start
from sales. I think one of the I was reading this somewhere that the core of the business is to understand people and your consumers. If you don't understand that, then don't get into business. So when you are in sales, you're actually meeting your consumers.
Yeah.
You're understanding what they want.
And you have to understand the difficulties that come with facing up to to a customer who's asking for a certain thing. And asking for money, discounts, saying that, listen, there is this other company that's giving me X amount of money. What are you giving me? So it's about understanding the value of relationship, understanding how far that can take you, and also understanding where that ends. And understanding what is the objectivity in the decision making process. So again, the other example is, I guess, I spent a lot of time at Perch, and yes, while technically my role and why I was hired there was to help with the wine program and help set that up and do marketing, the most valuable experience that I got from that was being on the floor every day.
Yes.
Going up to people and asking what they were looking for. What could I get for them? How could I enrich their day? Because they had obviously taken the time to come to us. How could I, add value to what their day was looking like? And honestly, it was in that process that we discovered there was a potential in the gin space. Because had I not been doing that, I would have not known what people were asking for.
Also, there is this perception about not having a work-life balance when you're in this industry, especially working behind the bars. Now you have a bar of your own, you have gin also of your own, but how do you build this culture of work-life balance within your team and yourself?
I think that's maybe the part that we struggle with the most. I think one, having an office has really helped, because obviously having 8 people show up at our home and basically go from pajamas to desk was, now when I look back, tougher than what it seemed at that point.
Right.
Because at that time you're immersed in it. You can't really see beyond what you're doing, and it's hard to kind of think about what moving into an office would do. But actually that's been great, because now we physically leave our office and come home.
Right.
And we make dinner and we eat dinner and we spend time with our son, etc. So that's really helped, kind of being able to push, and being able to, set those boundaries. But it's not perfect.
Right.
At all. It's one of those things that you really have to push yourself to exercise. Right. You have to push yourself to eat better. You have to push yourself to not, drink every glass of gin that comes in front of you, because there are lots of glasses of gin that come in front of us. So,
and I think even if you visit all the bars, every bartender will want you to try a drink made with your gin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And please try it.
Yeah, I think it happened this morning at what, half an hour ago? No, I think that's, you have to kind of do that as well, but you have to know where to draw the line for yourself. And I think people appreciate that, people understand that, and they understand that it's coming from a good place.
Right.
And I think especially within the community now, it's become a big enough talking point that we all kind of almost look out for each other a little bit, not all the time, but we almost look out for each other to be like, listen, don't worry. You're driving, don't drink, and it's become much more understanding. I think we've become a lot more mature about the thought process that goes behind it.
Right.
But how to actually manage work and life, I think it's a challenge because, when you start something on your own, your work does become your life.
Yes.
And vice versa, because you're so engrossed in it, you're so into it that you just, every, waking moment, you're just thinking, okay, how can I improve the finances? How can I, what can we do different on the marketing piece? What can we do different? Why are we not able to crack, this particular state or this particular city, etc.? So you've got so many things to contend with that you have to physically pull yourself out and, not think about it, not do it, not, take up something that you have to show up for, So for example, whether it be yoga or whether it be a swimming class or something, take up something that you have to physically, be answerable to someone else for, to be like, okay guys, sorry, I have to go, I have to, this. Otherwise, it just will not happen.
All right. So I think I'll come to the last question now before we end this podcast. Well, if you are not making gin, what would you be doing?
I've thought about this recently, actually, and I've been asked this recently, and I have this. I have an answer that I don't know will be expected or not. I mean, it's not a big secret that I'm a big fan of cricket.
Okay.
We made a gin with someone was surprised with that answer. Hey, I'm a fan of cricket, and I always, we made a gin with broken cricket bats, and we called it Broken Bat. So if I was not making gin, and I don't know how this would have happened, but somehow I would have loved to been managing a franchise cricket team or something like that.
Oh wow!
Okay. So if someone gave me, in particular, like RCB or Delhi Capitals or something, I think that would be what I would want to do.
Okay.
Because you look at these guys and I'm like, how have they not, both of these teams, how have they not won a single IPL championship yet? They need someone like me.
I hope
To basically
you buy a franchise soon.
Yeah. No, we got some investment few years ago from USL, from Diageo, and one of the things that I really liked, one of the side benefits is they own RCB. So maybe somewhere in the future I can convince them.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking our time. It was lovely talking to you.
Likewise, that was great.
Looking forward to probably to another podcast soon. Again, maybe we have.
You can be on our podcast.
Yeah. Why not?
Doesn't exist yet, but we'll make one.
No, but I think we have only spoken few of your stories. I would like to pick your brains more on how you have built a fabulous team. And I admire it. So probably whenever next time you're here,
it's a very cool team.
Yeah.
We like hanging out with our team.
Right.
But thanks a lot for having me, man. And maybe next time we'll do it over a Negroni or two.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Thank you very much.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Cheers.